Hi everyone, this is Dave from Unplugged Woodworking, and today I'm going to show you how to use this guy. This is a Roman workbench. I've had a lot of requests to do this. I did do a video some time ago, but the audio was really bad, the lighting was bad, so I'm going to redo it. I do hope to put a lot more detail into this one. Bearing in mind this is just how I use it, I'm not going to go into the historical facts and whatever else. This is just how I use it. You know, use what you find useful, and whatever else you don't find useful, just discard it. You know, it's as simple as that basically. So if you want to see more things like this, tutorials and whatever else, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, comment, let us know what you want to see, and share the video. Please share the video. You wouldn't believe how many people message me asking us how you use one of these. It's people from all over the world, absolutely crazy. So it's took us a long time to do this, and I'm going to do it. So the focus, I'm going to try and get everything more onto the bench than myself, to try and get as much detail in as possible, and I'm just going to go through everything. No particular order, so you know, I'm just going to show you and then explain what I'm doing. Okay, so one of the easiest things to do, and this is the thing that sold the bench to me, is to edge plane. So if we just tie two in and we'll tie a third one, when you're using the Roman workbench, you'll see this a lot. It's just a triangle. You do use these a lot, and obviously we'll put it into place. An even finger, even just tightening with your hand. As you can see, that's enough to do that. So another way that you can do this is to do this without the peg. So if you're using a lot of material that's the same thickness, which I do, this is approximately 21mm thick, so I use this thickness like a lot. So is what you can do. Instead of having the peg, you're gonna use this. You're gonna take this peg and you're gonna put it back here, and this peg you're gonna put into this hole. Now this will only work on longer boards, simply because short boards you haven't got the flex in the board. So if we put this in here and we'll get the longer board, we're going to put this in, and where you see this hole here, if you see it's just slightly over the hole, so is what we do. You flex a board, you're actually bending the board, and you put that in, and then now you'll see this, and this is just a bench dog, a homemade bench dog. If you are interested, I did do a video on this. There'll be a link in the description. So I'm just going to put this up so it butts against it, and then I'm literally just going to butt it against it like so, and then I'm good to go. And it's exactly the same process again. So if you want to take it out, just lift it, and you do exactly the same with the wedge as well. You lift the back end of the board and the wedge just comes free and the board comes free. Okay, so another good example of planing without any wedges would be this sort of setup. So I've got a bench dog here, a bench dog here, and a bench dog over here. So this is really good for, you know, not so wide boards. You know, this is I think this is about 40mm. So anything small like this is actually really good, and I do actually use this technique quite a bit actually. So the way it works is that it's butting against everything, and when you're planing, you're actually pushing into the dogs, so it can't go anywhere. So if we so as you can see, I'm pushing diagonally, and because I'm pushing diagonally, it can't go anywhere. It's butting against this one, it's butting against this one, and it's butting against this one. Face planing, it doesn't matter if it's something like this or if it's a wider board. I'm basically just setting 2 bench dogs, either here and here, one in the center, or maybe two at either end. This just depends on how wide the board is. You can get away with just using one, even if it is a wide board, but if you do that, I do tend to use a rubber mat, non-stick mat. Those work really well. So if I was going to do that, I would just put my piece in place, you know, it's pretty much self-explanatory, but that's how I would do that. Okay, so for some soaring, if I'm gonna cut a thin piece like this, I do typically do it like this. So I'll pop a peg in, and I'll put another one there. So you know, you want to get your support, you want to get your piece where you're going to do the cuts, you know, next to the bench. And I'm just going to use a peg, a wedge. Now this is quite a thin wedge, and between the two of them, or should I say 4 or 5 of them, these are the two that I use the most. Those are the thicknesses, and I get away with quite a lot with these. So again, you don't really have to use a mallet. You know, you can if you want to. Sometimes you have to, but you know, 9 out of 10 I'm just using the palm of my hand and just pushing like so. And what I like about this is you can actually just let go of the piece like so. And another thing I like about this, depending on which way you use it, if this, you know, if this was a little bit longer, it was sticking right out, I've got this hand to actually hold the piece, so you know, you wouldn't get no fracture or splitting of the wood when you're cutting. So if this wasn't right out here, I could be cutting it and I'm free to hold the piece. And the piece doesn't fall. Okay, so another way to cross cuts that I do use quite often as well with the pegs. So we've got 2 pegs here, and it's going to be exactly the same. You're just creating the triangle where you can put the wedge. So we've got a piece here, it's butting against the two pegs, and if we want to, we can put one there. And same again, we're just going to use the thin one. Now this is actually a little bit tight here, so is what I can do, because these pegs are tapered, I can actually put it in like so. So I push that down, that's actually tightening it, and I can just push it in like that, and that's good to go. And the good thing about this is when you're using this, you can actually take your hands off the board and you can move your body position back, because I find the trouble is when you're using your knee, by the time you get over here, your saw's actually on a tilt, because the body mechanics has actually changed. You started here like so, and then you've started going like that, so the body mechanics changes, and that's how you get out the square. But doing this, you're actually able to keep it see how I'm not putting my knee on, and that's what makes it better to do this way. The only issue with this cutting this way, you're actually doing it widthways, so depending on the weight of your bench, if you've actually made one of these, and also depending on the actual width of it, you can actually get that effect. So obviously the wider it is, the better. Basically this is one of the shorter benches I've made. I've made about 5 or 6 of these now. This is one of the shorter ones. I did want it to be wider, but at the time this was all that was available to us, and this is solid oak, this. And just like I was talking about before, I can show you this, what I was talking about with actually being able to support the piece. Obviously I'm right-handed, so I'm able to grab the piece to stop it from falling on the ground with my left hand, like so. Now you can see that there, so it's nearly ready to be supported, like so. Another way to use the pegs like this is for rib cutting. Now typically I will still get on the board and put my weight on the board when I'm ribbing, but if you're putting it in the pegs, it actually stops it from moving around. You know, anybody that does this will know that when you're on top, sometimes it will move from side to side as you're cutting. So I quite like this, and depending on the length of your board, you can actually take your weight off the piece. I mean, this is only about just over a meter, so I wouldn't really be able to take my weight off too much, but I'd probably get away with a little bit. So just to show you, and that's how you would drift cut this way. I sometimes do this if I've got really long pieces. It's just nice and quick, just to, you know, just to do a little bit and shove it out. Another way I would rip cut is to use the holdfasts. Again, this is pretty much self-explanatory for anyone that's used them, but for those that haven't, like so. And it works equally as well with a Japanese saw. So you'll probably notice this way there's less vibration, where when I was using the pegs you could hear the vibration. A lot of this will go in between Japanese saws and Western saws. You know, you can get away with both, although sometimes it's better with a Japanese saw, sometimes it's better with a Western saw, so, you know, have an experiment with it. Okay, for those of you that haven't got holdfasts and would maybe like to use holdfasts, maybe not have the money to get some holdfasts at this current time, a little thing that I did mess around with, I haven't messed around with it a great deal, but basically this is just a regular wedge. This is an oak wedge, and as you can see, I've drilled a hole through at an angle. So if you put one of the pegs through like so, it becomes a hold fast. As I said, I haven't like really messed around with it a great deal, but it does work to a degree. So to show you, if we put this in, like so, so as you can see, it does work quite reasonably, but I haven't had a great deal of time to experiment with it. So, you know, if anyone's got the time, experiment, get back to us. I'd love to see what you can do with something like this. Okay, so a little bit on the notch now. Again, this is pretty much self-explanatory. So if you want to, you can actually use this to cut things. The likes of if you are going to cut maybe some dovetails, obviously the wider the board, it's going to stick out more, and you're going to get some vibration. It's not really suitable to do things like that, but you can use it to do smaller sections. You know, if you were going to do maybe 2 dovetails on the edge of here, that would work quite well, like so. So that works quite well like that, but obviously the higher you lift it, the more vibration you're going to get. It's exactly the same as what you would get with a vise. Another thing I like to do with this, is to actually use it to resaw or to plane end grain. Same again, I've got it locked into place, and now I'm just going to bring this into place. We use a peg and a wedge, like so. As you can see, you can end grain. As you can see, you can plane the end grain like this. So another thing I have done is to actually resaw some boards like this, which can be a little bit difficult. As you can see, it is quite possible. This is well suited for if you're going to cut any tenons. Obviously you typically would have a shorter tenant, not necessarily as long as this. Sometimes another way I do use the notch is just to hold a piece like so, and just use a clamp, you know, and that's pretty secure. You know, there could be a whole host of reasons why I want to do it, to use it like this, you know, maybe to round off. you know, so you can see it holds it quite well. Also, this is pretty good again if you're using multiple boards that are glued up, and I do this a lot. I'll actually have a longer piece, you know, if I want to hold it up for whatever reason, and again I'll just clamp it into position like so, and that's really handy, and I do use the notch part for that a lot. Okay, so something else I do occasionally is to use a toolbox. This is just a dovetail toolbox. It hasn't got a lot of tools in it at the moment. So what I'll do sometimes is pretty much just clamp it into position. Like so. And if you are going to do this, it is pretty advisable to use some sort of rubber mat. It does a great job in stopping the piece from moving backwards and forwards if you are going to be cutting anything this way. So same again, if I put this here, I can clamp it like so. For purposes of filming this, I'm going to go around the other side, but I would normally be cutting from this side. So as you can see, you can cut it that way, and if I wanted to, we could cut it this way. Like so. So another cool thing that I incorporated into this build was a shear force. I wanted a shear force for a long time, so I eventually did incorporate into this, and as you can see, it's nothing complicated. Obviously, got the two rails here. I've got my foot rail, and this is just you know, this is just kept with a couple of pins. Same at the top, but the top does actually swivel, and it's really easy to put together, which I'm going to demonstrate now. So I just put the two pegs in, and I'm going to put the spacer in. And then obviously I've got multiple holes along here, and I can just pretty much put this where I want it to match the thickness of the material, whatever I'm using. So as you can see, I'm just going to put this in. And as you can see, it's quite handy. Okay, so as you can see, you can do a lot on one of these. I haven't showed you everything because it is a lot to show. So if you would like us to demonstrate something else, you know, some sort of task, I would be happy to do so. If you leave a comment asking us what you'd like to see, and you know, if I get enough requests, I'll do a video on it. I think that's pretty much it for today. So again, if you've liked the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, of course, and share the video. You'd be doing us a great favour, and thanks for watching.